Area 8 allows for a maximum of 2 limited land use, and the proposed project would represent the maximum of those 2 allowed. In regards to the conditional use permit, we understand that the vision of the Highway 111 specific plan is not to be autocentric in nature, but it does allow for market forces to attract near-term reinvestment into the site. So through this mechanism and approval of recommendation from Planning Commission to the City Council, we could allow some of these more auto-oriented uses in the area. And the project is proposing to, which is the coffee shop with the drive-through and also the car wash with the drive-through. So as I mentioned before at the beginning of my presentation, we do have 2 recommendations for you tonight. One of them is to approve the project, to recommend approval to the project to the City Council for resolutions 2126, 2127, and 2128 for the design review, conditional use permit, and the tentative tract map for the project, or recommend denial for the project based on the findings in the staff report determined by the Planning Commission. We do have some findings for denial for the project, which is essentially it doesn't meet the placemaking vision of the corridor. We want to make sure that it has a strong visual identity, that it has a strong focus on pedestrians and not drive-throughs, and that it creates a unique, it's a unique corridor, so it gives it a sense of place. With that concludes my staff report. If you do wish to recommend approval, we do have a memo that we have included to the Planning Commission to add 1 additional condition, and we could read that into the record if that's the wish of the Planning Commission.
Thank you very much. Any questions of staff at this time? No? Okay, I do have one. Can you bring up the map, because we're going to subdivide the tract, right?
Yes.
Because I have a question about the water retention. And also, we're not getting that image on our screens, and I know that they're trying to fix it, so I'm actually looking based on what we were sent earlier, so it's kind of hard to see. But okay, so if you look at that map right there, that little bottom kind of square, right, is the temporary?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. So based on the lots, this is being subdivided, and it's being built in, they want to build it in phases, phase 1 and phase 2. So the permanent water retention, I think you mentioned, is in Lot A.
That is correct,
And
yes.
Lot A is in a separate tract. So what happens if they did build phase 1, but then never built phase 2 or sold those tracts to another developer? What is the ramifications for the water retention, and how does that work?
Would just like
So
to
I believe
recognize
the city engineer did
you know,
review
supervisors
the
happy tonight. I know
proposal for the
it-
temporary
it-
catch basin.
it-
I don't know if Mark Greenwood would be able to, I think he's representing the engineering department tonight, and if he could speak to that.
Good evening. I'm Mark Greenwood. I'm the city's consultant transportation engineer. However, I'm filling in for the city engineer tonight. The short answer is that the temporary retention basin, in the case that the phase 2 never happened, that temporary retention basin would remain in perpetuity, unless there was some other agreement ahead.
Okay, so it stays there, and then another developer comes in and develops the other phases, and then who knows what agreement for what retention basin would be at that point. It would end up being 2 separate retention basins probably, right? If it was done by 2 separate developers? No?
The developed property could not be developed unless that temporary basin was moved to.
Okay, because the site's being treated as one overall site regardless of who develops it? Correct. Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, any other questions?
I do have a question, Chairwoman. So I saw that on the project, there's like potentially two drive-throughs, right? One for the Starbucks and one for another, what was the other one again?
The car wash.
The car wash, right? So have the city look into like how is the traffic going to, like what is the traffic impact on that, like during peak hours? If like both businesses are gonna have like a long line, like how is it gonna impact the traffic, like during rush hour, 5 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 a.m.? How we look into that, or how we taking that into consideration?
I don't think there's very much concern for the two drive-throughs conflicting with each other. The coffee shop has a morning peak hour. The car wash would have a noon and weekend peak. Those two peaks wouldn't line up with each other. And if there was a problem, that would be on site. It would be incredibly rare for that, if there was an issue on site, to spill out onto the public street. If it was an issue, the property owner would want to deal with it. I really don't think that would happen.
You have a question for staff? Go ahead. Any more questions of staff? No? Okay, then we'll go ahead and open the public comment and have the applicant come up if he has a presentation. Thank you.
Limited to 3 minutes, or do I have a little more than that? Okay. Madam Chairman and members of the commission, my name is Paul DePilatus. I'm the Senior Planning Advisor for MSA Consulting. Nice to see you back here again. We came before you last year, I think, with this same project. And I think out of that meeting, we came away feeling like there was a really pretty good acceptance of the proposal. We felt like it was fairly positive, and did hear a few questions about car washes and whether the council was going to be receptive to that or not. But I think in general, we thought we had a plan that was well-designed and was pretty well received, we felt, by the comments that we got at that point. Wanted to say just a little bit about the layout and design on the project. So this is the phase 1 of our larger master plan project for sub-area 8 of the corridor plan. And the unique thing about this particular part of it is that the uses kind of serve two purposes. I mean, staff mentioned they first of all provide kind of an economically viable base of uses to start development of the property. All of these can be sort of viable standalone projects in the location that they're at. So car wash, the drive-through Starbucks, and the EV charging station can all function independently by themselves. But if you think about the ultimate build-out of the project, think about if you were living in one of these medium-density housing units next to it, you're probably not going to have a place to wash your car, for example. And so having a car wash convenient to your project will be a plus to you as a resident. Same thing goes with the EV charging station. If you own an electric vehicle, which there are more and more these days, to be able to go outside and drive, within sub-area 8 and get your car charged, again, a big plus to you. So most of these uses, I think, could be very valuable and convenient to people living in the housing, which is really the intent of a mixed-use project. Everything is self-contained within the area. So for those couple of reasons, these are all kind of valuable pieces to start with on the project. And then I just wanted to say a couple of things about the actions that are in front of you. We have spent a fair amount of time trying to revise and refine the design since you saw it. We've worked with staff quite a bit on trying to bring forth to you a high-quality project with good architecture, good aesthetics, and that's functional as well. And I guess what I wanted to mention is that you have like 3 actions in front of you tonight. There's the planning review discretionary, there's the tract map, and then there's the conditional use permit. The first 2 of those, the PRD and the tentative map, are really technical reviews. Are they technically sound? Are they well designed? Are they compliant with city standards? We would hope that you would look at those 2 applications and conclude, yes, they are, and be able to approve those tonight. If there was a concern about uses, that probably should be reflected in the CUP. If you think those are good uses and want to recommend to the commission or the council to approve those, that would be the place to do that. Or if you have a problem with one of those and don't want to recommend approval, that would be the place to do that. So I think, you could feel comfortable approving the technical applications and doing something different on the use application if you wanted to do that. Obviously, we'd like to see them all approved tonight, but you're the decision makers and would have to make that decision. So we're happy to answer any questions tonight. I have some of the other design team here, our architect, and some others are here tonight if there's any questions about things. And with that, I'll kind of conclude, but we would hope that we get your approval tonight. And if there's any issues or comment or things that can't be addressed either through additional conditions or through some redesign, we would prefer to come back another time than take a denial on those first two applications. Positive technical recommendations for the tract map and the
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the applicant? Go ahead.
When considering the entry point for this proposed development, the street light that allows entry into this development would be on Riverdale Lane, correct? My concern is the proximity to Madison Street. If we were to install a street light there, it would only be 645 feet away from the Madison Street Light intersection, which I feel, especially during high volume times, especially going down 111, may potentially down the line, once we do have residents living there, may pose a traffic concern. So that's my concern with regard to that, the access point being right there.
Could I respond to that? Just
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
keep in my head kind of the other questions you have. But so we did do, when we had the prior entitlement in front of you 2 years ago for the entire project, we did have a traffic report done that looked at all of the uses and sort of what the traffic volumes, time of day impacts on adjacent roads were, and locating signals and how to deal with various access points on the property. And it concluded that basically that location of the signal was appropriate there. And I believe Mr. Greenwood was part of those discussions with our traffic engineer, and that was kind of agreed to on a technical level that would be functional there. So we don't see any problem with volumes or movements or anything like that at that location when the full build-out occurs.
Okay, thank you. And now I really appreciate you keeping in mind the proposed development that's to take place there. Is there a timeline as to when you feel that would be taking place?
I don't know for sure. I know they are in discussions right now with a group looking at that site. I haven't been directly involved with that, but I do know that those have been active conversations right now. So we would hope it would come in soon. Obviously, it's market dependent, and as are most of these things. So,
yeah.
I know from other projects we work on, housing is a little, slow right now. There is more construction of some affordable units for, attached product and things like that. But usually that's kind of what depends when things occur is kind of when the market will accept them. I do think that, with these various uses going in, it will attract somebody to that site because it's, it is a plus to be able to just walk to these things without, having to drive too far for them.
Okay, thank you. And I do appreciate you keeping in mind what features we're putting here in this lot for future residents of Indio. And I do agree having amenities on site is immensely beneficial because you can walk to the grocery store, whatever's needed. Hello? Okay. Sorry. But with regard to what amenities being placed here, there's a car wash a mile east of this proposed location. And so if potentially down the line residents wanted to get their car washed, they wouldn't have to travel far to do so. And so one of my concerns is, let's just say down the line, there is no development. No one wants to invest in this area, but we're still left with a quick quack that's potentially beneficial for residents that may come down at some point in time. If that doesn't happen, we're left with a quick quack car wash 1 mile away from a quick quack car wash. And so if down the line they find that this quick quack car wash isn't as profitable for them, will it stay open, and that will limit what we can put there, because once they develop a car wash there, it's going to really limit what amenities we can provide for our residents there in that specific space. So that's one of my concerns.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, you're welcome to make whatever decisions you want to on that. I think that we live up in Rancho Mirage, and there are car washes close to other ones, and they all seem to be doing fine. We do have a representative from Quick Track tonight that maybe could talk about, their sense about the viability of that location. But I do think, though, that, again, you could decide some other use could go there as a service to the residences, but I don't really see probably a problem with it being viable in the long term. I mean, there seems to be plenty for those car washes right now.
And have there, I guess, if you're willing to share or able to, has any other proposed developments been considered to take or to occupy that spot?
I know they've been marketing it.
Okay.
I think the challenge is to find somebody that feels strongly enough about locating something that they're willing to build something quickly. But I couldn't tell you. I haven't been directly involved in all of the marketing that they've done for it. Obviously, they were able to find Starbucks for one of these, and presumably, if they were to try long enough, they would find something else. But I don't know, what the receptivity to that has been at this point.
Okay, thank you. And touching on Starbucks, the coffee shop. I love coffee. I'm not against coffee. However, from Washington Street, if you're driving down Highway 111, there's a Starbucks within about a mile to mile and a half, going down every single mile and a half, driving down all the way 111 to Golf Center. And I would love to see a coffee shop here, but have anyone on your team maybe reached out to any other local franchises that may be looking to expand into the area that's not necessarily a Starbucks, just to offer more variety for our residents or even the residents that might potentially live there?
Yeah, I think you're approving a use here, not necessarily a user.
No, I hear you.
So, I mean, I'm sure that they would be more than willing to consider any coffee group that would be willing. They've probably contacted a number of them too. So maybe it's Starbucks, maybe it's somebody else, but it would be something functioning like this. So I guess I couldn't say who all they've talked to, but I know that Dutch Brothers and similar facilities, but I don't know whether they've contacted them and they've passed on it, or if they've had it.
Yeah, and I hear you regarding use, and this is just something I'm considering as the overall project. But thank you for that.
So you want variety in your coffee, huh?
Yeah, why not? It's the spice of life.
You good?
franchise
Yes.
movements and
Megan, any questions?
for other residents.
Just one quick question. And I know this, yeah, you guys are looking at phase one now, future phase two. In regards to your guys' EV portion, would the current stalls at that location affect phase two per the Calgreen codes? Or would phase two still require their specific amount of stalls?
On phase two?
Yes.
I don't actually know the answer to that question, how that would affect that. I mean, obviously, it functions as standard. Whether it would have a benefit to those future stalls, I don't know for sure.
Commissioner Santos, I could add a little bit of foresight on that. So the green code and the number of EV chargers that would be required would, just because they're building this, doesn't mean that that goes away for the individual projects that are going to be approved in phase two. Especially, it's important, the proximity, that might be too far from those future uses that go in. So let's say it's a hotel, if they do a hotel in phase two, that's pretty far.
And-
So
Yeah,
it's not just the number, but it's also the location. So most likely that, just because they're building that EV
Would
charger
be
center,
current-
if you will, doesn't mean that the other requirements for the green building code to build those EV chargers closer to the buildings, they would still be required.
Yeah, I'm sure they would look for opportunities for benefits, but whether they could achieve that, I don't know. It would depend on the regulations and rules.
Perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Santos, I could add a little bit of foresight on that. So the green
We don't have
code
any other comments? No.
EV charger be required with, just because they're building this doesn't mean that that goes
Chair,
away.
if I
but
may
it-
just add one last point. Sorry to interrupt. So tonight, we're not piecemealing. So all the applications, so all three, CUP, tentative map, and the design review, that's bundled and then presented to the city council. They're the final review authority for this development. So I just want to make sure that was emphasized. It's not approve this part or that part. The whole thing is going to go to the council per the specific plan review process.
So a clarification right there. So if we either approve or deny the whole package, we can't break it up.
No, that's correct. You're not going to, you can't break up, say you want this part or that part. Yeah, it's a recommendation that will go to the council for the whole project.
Chairperson, I do believe we have someone on Teams who wanted to make a comment.
Oh, okay, well then let's
Oh.
reopen the public comment so we can hear from them.
with, just
Thank you,
because they're
Madam Chair.
building this doesn't
This is
mean
Chip
that that
Inspector.
goes away.
Can you hear me?
So tonight, we're not.
Madam
piecemealing
Chair, can you hear me?
All applications, so all three, CUP, map, and design reviews, that's bundled and then presented to city council. They're the final review authority for this development. So I just want to make sure that's emphasized, for this part or that part, the whole thing is council for the specific plan process.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Clarification right there. So if we either approve or deny the whole package, we can't break it up.
No, that's correct. You're not gonna,
Can
you
ask
can't
the,
break up.
Person to hold on, we've got technical difficulties.
Representative, we have someone on Teams who wanted to make a comment.
Oh.
Well, then let's
So-
open the public, comment so we can hear from you.
Just because they're building it, doesn't mean that that goes away from your music. So tonight, we're not.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
All applications, all three, CUP, map, and design reviews, that's bundled and then presented to city council. They're the final review authority for this development. So I just want to make sure that's emphasized, for this part or that part, the whole thing is for the council, for the specific plan process.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Clarification right there. So if we either approve or deny the whole package, we can't break it up.
No, that's correct. You're not gonna, you can't break up.
Representative, we have someone on Teams who wanted to make a comment.
Oh.
Well, then let's comment so we can hear from you.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
We are having technical issues, so we're going to take a 5-minute break and we will try to come back.
All three, CUP, map, and design reviews, that's bundled, presented to city council.
Hello, this is an IT test. Testing, 1, 2, 3, mic check. Mic check, this is a test. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi, is anybody on this meeting that could confirm that they are able to hear me?
This is Jim. I can hear you.
Yeah. Jim. Perfect. Thank you, Jim. I think we're having some issues because there were too many participants that had their mic unmuted on the Teams meeting. So for now, I just have yourself as a person that can unmute themselves. Is there anybody else that needs to as well have their mic unmuted or their ability to unmute?
John, do you want to speak? John Salmon, please.
Okay, and please note, only unmute if you've been called upon. And mute as well when you finish speaking as well.
You bet. Pro with this.
Okay, so John does have access to unmute. And then I also have a Jim Fitzpatrick who's raising his hand, I believe. Oh, that's you there. That's okay. You're good. You have the ability to speak there as well as, let's see here, John Salmon.
Yeah, listen, you can speak.
There were too many. I think the link might have been sent off to others, and so they were all joining in and unmuting themselves, and then somebody left themselves on mute. So we just kicked everybody out and verified the 2 people that needed to be in there, and I just kicked everybody out. That's smart. Yeah. So we're good for now. I know. Jasmine, can you just minimize? Or actually, just go ahead and yeah, let's see. Okay, Brian's coming, so hold on. It was definitely on there. It was mainly because it was too many. I think they might have sent the link off to others. And so others were joining, unmuted themselves and walked away. And it was.
No, I could hear myself talking. So is that just delay? That's a delay? Like I could hear myself.
You should have been able to hear yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and bring the meeting back, and we are still in public comment. And we did have someone that wanted to speak via Teams. Are they available?
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Hi, if you're on Teams, you can go ahead and speak.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Jim Fitzpatrick, wanted to just give some clarifying comments regarding the apartment community. If you remember from our study session, at the time, we came and said we were looking at about a 400 unit senior project. However, the economics didn't work out. The per door cost for that type of product was fairly substantial with the supply chain, the interest rates, things like that. And then when the other functions you look at are absorption rates, and the absorption rate just wasn't was pretty low. And as well as you look at factors of rent, and in the vicinity, rents hadn't been taken up in 2 years, so we were confident we were at the maximum part of that equation. So that didn't work. So the owners went back and said, we're still committed to the project. Let's, we looked at the construction person and said, let's look at a different product, about neighborhood of 300 units or so for market rate. And even as of today, we had a meeting. So I will tell you that it's not a done deal, but it's favorable. And the team is pursuing the opportunity because they think it will be a viable project. So timelines, as soon as possible. The intent is sometime this year. Just to speak on the car wash, typically what car washes do is they do site in proximity intentionally because their membership model is really their revenue driver. And so they need a certain level of concentration in order to achieve that. So that's why it's not uncommon to see multiple car washes in proximity. I also represent the EV, which is phase one. The reason why we actually got to this EV is part of the cost equation for the apartment community on a per door basis was, Title 24 requires you to put in 20% EVs and 20% of conduit. That has a meaningful impact on a per door basis. So we were looking for alternative means and methods when I bumped into L3. So although it's not a decision for you tonight, we hope at some period when the additional phase comes through, we're able to make the case because we have 20 ultra fast, not, a couple of slow trickles. In really that whole 111, we have scienced it up. It's very much of a charging desert. You do have charging out off the 10, but that services like the Phoenix to LA market, and there's really nothing to electrify Indio. So although we not asking you to make a decision tonight, just know that that's the project's intent. So thank you for your time. I just wanted to offer some clarifying comments.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public? Yeah, if we could have our representative from, I think, Quick step up. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, my name is Parker Bodley, 18215 72nd Avenue South from Kent, Washington, representing Quick Quack. The comment really highlighted what I wanted to speak on, that we are membership based, and that's part of the intent to have multiple car washes. It's not uncommon for them to be 1-2 miles apart from another. As it relates to traffic, car washes are not a destination. They gather pass-by trips. So you're driving down the street, you see a car wash, you stop by, right? So people don't go out of their way to visit a car wash. And having it nearby the residence just adds to that benefit, certainly. Our real estate team is quite busy, and they do a lot of investigation. And this site is, we're ready to go on this site. We're ready to invest more into your community and provide our exceptional service.
Thank you. Any other requests to speak for the public?
I believe that's it.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and go back to deliberations or questions of staff. And is there anything you guys want to share with us before we get any further?
Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to do a clarifying point. With this item, there's 3 items, and it would be obviously a recommendation to the City Council. The Planning Commission can take these items separately and can vote to recommend to the City Council differently. So maybe denial on one and, approval on the other. The question that Brian and I were talking about, and so maybe there was some confusion, was, does anything stop here at the Planning Commission? And the answer is no. Normally, under like a normal circumstance, right, a CUP or design review would technically stop here at the Planning Commission. But in this case, all 3 items move forward to City Council. But you can take them separately if there were separate, votes, by the planning commissioners. So just wanted to clarify that, because it's a little different under the specific plan, because the entire thing moves forward to City Council.
Okay, so we could if we wanted to, but there are reasons not to separate them. And maybe depending on where the conversation goes, we can look at maybe some other options.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Comments or questions from the commissioners?
I was waiting for everybody else to go, but I guess I start. I like the project. It's just, I've been told, obviously this is my 2nd year in the Planning Commission, so I don't have a lot of experience, but I've been told in the past that there was no exceptions for auto-related businesses on the 111 corridor. I know that before we used to have them by Golf Center, like those old used dealerships in 111 Golf Center. That car wash that's kind of hidden right there, the auto collision that stores Golf Center. But new ones, I was under the impression that that was not allowed. That either under the general code or something that zoning codes for planning or whatever, it didn't allow for any auto businesses related on that 111 corridor. So that was just my first, when I read the agenda, I was like, okay, hold on. So the city staff is recommending to us for approve it, but I was told somehow, I was under the impression that somehow that was not permissible.
I could comment to that. So it's a good comment, Commissioner Ortiz. So I just want to say that the vision for Highway 111 is not a lot of auto-related uses. In fact, when the specific plan was written, it expected that there's going to be some, and so there's these sub-areas that divides Highway 111 into segments, if you will, and limits how many. And in addition, if you are going to, if an applicant's going to come into our office and apply for that, it's a CUP, it needs to go to the City Council. And not only that, we're supposed to also be tracking those as they come in, because again, we're trying to limit those types of uses, whether it's gas station or car wash this evening. So no, there is opportunities, but once those maximum number of limited land uses are exceeded, they're done. There's no more left. But we're also, there's discretion involved with the Planning Commission, in this case, the final decision of the City Council, because I don't want to pretend that the vision is for a lot of auto-oriented uses. It's not. But since the specific plan is still new, they expected that the market will take a little bit of time to catch up to what really the corridor is supposed to look like at some point in time. Obviously, we'd like it to be a little quicker, but at this point, there is a way out for them to apply and under that limited land use. So hopefully that kind of clarifies that. No, it was specifically written in there to allow it. but limit it and also limit the quantity. That's an important component as well.
Do we have amounts for those limits set, or is it variable?
Yeah, they absolutely are set, and there's a table in there. So the area is divided up in these sub areas, and the table, in this case, there's a maximum 2, I believe is how Gustavo presented it tonight, maximum 2, so they're asking for 2. But yeah, it's clearly delineated in a table format in the specific plan, those sub areas and how many of these limited land uses are allowed. So yeah, it's very clear in the plan.
Okay, so I've been around a little bit, so I was there when they put the Highway 111 plan together. And I know that they didn't outright deny car sales, car repair shops, car washes, anything that was direct auto use is what has always been discussed was not the vision for Highway 111. So to me, when we talk about drive-throughs, which are kind of auto, when the discussion was had way back when, it was more for like drive-through for restaurants or coffee shops or, you know, other things that have drive-throughs. I don't remember ever the conversation being about, you know, something that was a direct auto use. And the other reason that those limits were so tightly put into that Highway 111 specific plan was because the vision was for it not to be an auto-centric section of our city. So it was kind of very much specific. You know, overall, I think the project is very interesting. I love the idea of the residential. I love the chargers because those are, you know, a future need. The restaurant, the car wash is not something that I think the vision has ever been for Highway 111, and they've come before us multiple times from different developers over the years, and the answer has always been the same, not on Highway 111. So at my point right now, we either have to table this and bring it back so there's a possibility of change of a use, because that is the biggest concern to me right now, since we can't really divide. If we divide it up, it doesn't really kind of work, because if we approve the track map, they're based on what they're going to build, but now we're not going to build that, and if it's not a car wash, then what is it? How does that change? Does it change the whole layout of that area? Taking it in pieces is going to, I think, make it worse than if maybe it's something we could send back with, you know, this, if the developer is open to that, and have it come back to us again as an entire packet instead of piecemealing. But I mean, what does staff think about that idea in lieu of?
So I think it's good. I think based on some conversations with the applicant, but I think it would be good to bring the applicant up again, is that if there's one component that changes, it really would trigger updating the site plan and redesigning it. So they would go back to the drawing board, so to speak, redesign something different. We'll just say, since it's been brought up, the car wash, something different. And so the access, the parking, the configuration, ingress and egress would have to be redesigned, and then they would bring that back to you. You can weigh in on that, move it forward to the city council, but it would be good for the applicant to see if that's something that they could do.
So before I open it back up to the public, any questions or comments from commissioners for staff? No? Go ahead, Megan.
I know we're a little bit stuck on the quick quack right now, but I think for me, just because I currently live where the quick quack is on Avenue 42 in Monroe, I tend to look at businesses and how they perform and how they take care of the area. And Quick Quack is one of those businesses that I tend to see staff is taking care of the area. It's clean. Things are always, like, there's never any trash on the ground, whereas I know in that same area, a little bit further down the street, CVS is one of those businesses that doesn't take care of trash and the area, the shrubs, all that. So for me, that's something that's really important, and I know that we're stuck on the fact that it's a car wash and it's auto-centric, but I think that we also have to look as the business as a whole and what they would bring to the city and how they would take care of the area also. So that's my comment.
I want to echo Commissioner Ortiz's comment on the land use on 111 and just ensuring that it's not solely auto-centric, specifically near a city gateway. Just keeping in mind other developments in the area. We're going to have a boutique hotel. Jackalope is doing great. We're going to have Devane's be reopened. I haven't seen it open since like I was a little kid. So I'm really excited for that. And it appears to be a more, I'm just unsure. I understand the need for a car wash and that it'll be utilized. But I'm not sure how in the grand scheme of things, how that's a benefit to the overall residents of Indio, just because it does place a limit as to what developments can take place there down the line should there no longer be a quick quack. And to me, that is a bit concerning, as well as the amount of employees that are often on site at a quick quack. I know it's just a handful of employees. So as far as like job creation, that's also something I'm trying to consider as well. But yeah, I'm just kind of keeping into consideration what everything looks like right there on Madison and on 111 and how this would potentially be enhancing the features and beauty of our city of Indio.
We'll go ahead and reopen the public comment so we can hear from the applicant and see what he thinks about the idea of not piecemealing, but going back and coming forward. So let's go ahead and reopen the public hearing. Thank you.
So, often in retail project, developments, we'll have, projects coming in on pads. This wash is a pad. I mean, it's the use on a pad. What we could do, if there's a consensus among numbers here, I'm counting maybe 3 sort of hearing this and maybe a couple this way. We would prefer to continue, bring the site plan back to the commission, with the pad shown there, but no particular use, so that we can approve the balance of it if you're in favor of the balance of it, and then take that as a positive recommendation to the. Later on, we would come back with a use for that pad, be it another restaurant. Because as I mentioned before, what I really don't want to do is to go to council with a negative recommendation on the technical parts of this. Again, the tract map and the discretionary planning review, those are all technical reviews of the project. So if that would be acceptable, that's probably the option we would choose to do, is let us go away, work with staff, come back with a revised site plan that would remove the car wash, and then you could forward to the council.
Perfect. We have consensus for that?
Okay with that.
Yep. Okay, I think we have consensus. Thank you. We'll go ahead and close the public. Somebody has a comment? All right. Come on back.
Apologize, and I know you guys have a direction here. I just want to give some last efforts here to try and to persuade you. I mean, I understand the concern is the use, right? We can do other things as far as building orientation, site planning to make it not appear so much as a car wash, because currently in this configuration, the entrance and exit are facing Highway 111. If we were to orient it, perpendicular to it with the building facing the street, it's more pedestrian friendly, you could say. We can add different features to it to build it up, to make it more frontage friendly. There's different things that we can do to make it more inviting and more less focused on the auto-centric, if that makes sense. And that we can do whatever design is necessary for you, but just want to throw that out there for you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. No other comments? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing again. All right. Since we have consensus, do we need a motion to move this? Oh, go ahead, sir.
Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go
Maybe
ahead.
we'll kind of tag team this.
Okay.
So usually when you bring these items to decision makers, whether it's the commission or the council, they kind of want to just see the whole thing. So if this is something that you're directing the applicant to do, meaning revise the site plan, show a different design, in this case, not a car wash, it's really best for them to work with staff, and we'll take a look at that updated plans, because remember, we also have to work with other departments, and then bring it back, even though I know they're mentioning, well, just the map and just the discretionary review. The council's going to want to see the whole package, and to say, well, you know, the council or the commission just wanted to see the map and, you know, the buildings and landscape and architecture, it's missing, you know, that component, and that's going to be the height of the discussion. Well, what about this component? So I would encourage you, if you would, to consider maybe that avenue or that path.
Yeah, I think that's our consensus, is that we want to see, you know, that modification that the applicant just discussed and bring it back to us as an entire package. Now, whether we move it to a date certain or whether it needs to be reposted or what, that was kind of where I was going to go. What is it that we need? How much time do we need? Or do they need?
I would actually need to defer to staff and the applicant to figure out how much time. We could go ahead and continue it to a date certain, maybe a month or 6 weeks. I don't know how long the applicant needs. If they're not ready, we could always continue it again. This way, it would avoid renoticing and recirculating everything if it were to be to a date certain. Maybe 8 weeks. I don't know. I'm putting out these numbers, and I don't
So maybe
know.
you could,
Yeah. So this would just be to give us an approximate time.
I need you to reopen the public hearing again. Okay, go ahead.
If all we're talking about is removing the car wash and leaving a pad there, that can be done very quickly. I can have that back to you before your next meeting, probably. If we're talking about putting something else in place of that, we don't have a use for that yet. Find somebody for that. We don't have something to swap that out with right now. So they would be pursuing that aggressively, obviously, and coming back to you with that piece. But if all we're talking about is just, you know, setting that up so it can be kind of a placeholder until we have something else come in, that we can do fairly quickly.
Okay.
Would the applicant agree to bringing back the second meeting in March? Would that, give you enough time, the second meeting in March?
Yes, I think.
30 days. Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, thank you. We'll close the public hearing again. 4 times, magic. All right, so do we need a motion for that?
Be a motion in a second to continue to the second meeting in March, which is March of the 25th. Is that correct?
Okay.
March 25th?
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion to continue this application to the March 25th meeting and for the applicant to work with staff.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Slater,
Yes.
Commissioner Scarborough Echo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santos,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairperson Franz. Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. We look forward to seeing you again. All right, we can move on to item 6, which is commissioner comments. Do we have any?
Yes. I took the time to ride my bike around downtown Indio, all the way down from Oasis down to the downtown area to Miles, and I just really want to thank the city for all the hard work that they've put into the downtown area. I've heard nothing but positive things, and commuting my bike was really easy. You had the bike lane, and I love how intentional and thought out everything has been in that specific area. From the trees to the lights that are going to be turned on soon to the stepping stones that lead you into Saguaro Coffee. Like, it's really well thought out. So thank you all for everything you've been doing. That is all. Thank you.
I do have a comment. I just want to thank the city for all the hard work and for also putting together the first pickleball tournament coming up like on the 7th. I'm excited. I know Councilmember Miller, he's a pickleball lover, so I know he's going to be there, probably win the tournament too. But I look forward to playing and have a good time over there.
I just have a question. Why is Painted Donut not opened yet?
That's a really good question. All I know is it's going to open soon. They've been working with us on the TI as well as the sign permit. Of course, when you're zooming by on the 10, you see a billboard. So it's going to be soon. I think I read into a staff member just recently, and they're getting very close. So very, very close. And I think they brought some donuts to the office recently. So
You
I
guys
think they're
please
coming
invite
close.
us when they do with the ribbon cutting or whatever. I've been looking forward to these guys for over a year. So this is good. All right, any other comments from commissioners? If not, we'll move on to staff items.
Yes, thank you, Commission. Just two quick items. So one has been a pretty big item, and that's the gas station code amendments and a moratorium extension. So staff has been working with the city attorney's office. I've been working internally with the planners and various staff members. It's definitely been a group effort. So we have a draft of UDC code amendments, just a draft. Is going to be first reviewed by the city council next week. I'll do a presentation, present a draft. So they're not acting on anything. They're just going to look at a draft, and then they're going to probably make some changes, or maybe they love it. I'll bring it back to the commission, so you'll get a bite at the apple, so to speak. So essentially what it is, it's some limits on where new gas stations can go, geographical limits. There's also new design standards, increased landscaping. There's going to be, there's a requirement regarding an at least one EV charger. So basically there's all these different things, street trees that are going to be proposed. But I think the biggest thing that the commission last year is limiting the number and based on the location where we have saturation. So that'll go to the city council next week. And then in addition, just to give us a little more time, since we're going to go to the city council and then come back to the planning commission and back to the city council, again, we're asking for a little additional 60-day extension on the moratorium. There's currently a moratorium on gas stations, so no new applications can come in to the community development department at this time. So, and then secondly is, unfortunately, the Planning Commissioners Academy, I was going to encourage you to sign up. Then right before the meeting, I checked their website. It's full, it's sold out, but there's a waiting list. So unfortunately, no one can sign up anymore, but if you want to, you can put your name, put your hat in the ring, so to speak, on the waiting list, and perhaps if you're interested, the city would be more than willing to sign you up or to get you to that academy. So if you'd like to, there is a waiting list. Other than that, that includes my staff items.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to see that the gas station rules and regs are moving forward, and it'll be great to have those, done, and everybody can understand where we are moving from this point forward. So thank you for that. Okay, go ahead.
So you were mentioning that, are you gonna bring the extension of the memorandum next meeting, or when is it gonna take place?
So the moratorium is only a council item, so they're gonna act on that, not the gas station amendments, but they'll review them. So the council, not the commission, will act on the moratorium.
I'm just curious when the city council is gonna act on it, on the standing. Do you know, it's gonna be for the next meeting or for the following
The
meeting?
moratorium extension is at the next meeting on the March 4th.
Got it, thank you, that was my question.